Welcome back to another reading and correcting. With me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you want to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today, we are reading Chapter 9 of An Errant Dawn. I lose track of time as I lie in the darkness. It was only once everyone settled that I'd finally fallen asleep. Inches creak over me. Light seeps in, then pours in as two forms rush out, knocking the lid open. Once my eyes adjust to the brightness, Moores is looking down on me. It's safe to come out. I consider my situation, then admit defeat. I'm going to need help. I nod to the three sleeping demons draped over me. Demons are heavy. That isn't normally a problem, since I'm much stronger than a human. I've carried older demons over my shoulders after defeating them. But lying on my back with my arms pinned under them, I have no leverage. Protect steps into the light and smirks at me before leaping out. Moores reappears, and even with his features mostly hidden in the bright sunlight, I see the smile. I was expecting things to be more tense, he says. It seems that up close, I'm not as scary as the story they've heard. I pull an arm and only succeed in making one of them growl and shift, so more of their weight is on it. They don't wake, Moores chuckled. Can't you order them off of me? You seem to be able to control demons. Have you ever tried to control teenagers? Why would I? That was a joke, wasn't it? You've clearly not spent a lot of time around teenagers if you think that. A roar sounds, carrying security, a time of ending, of return. Three heads snap up from my chest, then they are running up the wall and vanishing into the light, leaving me alone, able to breathe easier, and without the shadows of their memories crowding my head. Looks like Protect saved you. Moores comments, another unexpected thing. I think that letting those older demons smother me showed him I'm not a threat. We collaboratively call them teens. They're they'll all take a name over the next few years since we can tell them. But since we can't tell them apart the way the people can, we don't try. I climb the ladder. They don't mind. Vocalizing names are for our benefits. Moores reaches for me, and after considering, I give him a hand. I feel him pull, see the strain and surprise on his face as I continue climbing. How heavy are you? The team that brought you in mentioned you were heavier than you looked, and Malaya said your body was denser, but that felt like you weigh a ton. I don't know the numbers. I just know not to jump into lakes or rivers, and to make sure whatever roof I leap onto is solidly built. Around us, excitement rises. People gather and point up. Protect lands, and soon other forms appear from the alleys, stepping into the light and among the people. I glance at how many there are, easily 20 demons of varying age. How did this many demons still in the forest surrounding the town manage to avoid being found? A few hours and they'll have eaten everyone. Even as the thought occurs, their action contradicts it. The demons walk among the humans, looking them over, sniffing them, offering unclawed hands for them to shake. The humans hug them, the children run around the younger ones. Cub jumps up and squeaks a roar as he glides down. The young woman shows a scratch on her arm to a demon with pride. I catch the word sniffer and soldier from her. Demons ripple in anger and looks around for a target, but the woman calls them. The tone coming off the demon is happiness, concern, home. Moores takes my arm. Come, how about I feed you while they make sure everyone's okay? Once they catch your scent, they're going to have a lot more questions for you. I have spent enough time among them, among openly dishonest humans, to sense there is more to Moore's offer. But I go with him. Unless he plans to offer me to the demons, I can handle whatever he has in mind. The building he leads me to is a few streets away, larger than the others, made of concrete, with a metal roof. Other than the angle, I might be able to land on it. Inside, a dozen tables fill the open space, all empty, except for the largest one occupied by 5 women and 3 men. Two unoccupied, two unoccupied chairs are left. Smell of cooked food fills the air. They all look at me the way Amanda did the last time I saw her, before I cut ties with her, and the lies, disappointment, as if all their attempts to have me killed were my fault and not their decision. I wonder what they believe I did to warrant such expression. I consider leaving. I don't owe them anything, but the large platter of food before one of the free chair reminds me I am hungry. Moores leans in close. They just look threatening. You've defeated some of the people. I'm sure you aren't afraid of a few old men and women. His body language tells me he intends his word to be for me alone, but he spoke normally, and by the roll of the eyes on some of them, they heard him. I am not afraid, I state, and decide not to mention that demons are easier to deal with because I can strike those who threaten me. My hunger influences my decision. I step to the chair with the food. If whatever this turns into, if whatever this is turns into something I don't want to deal with, I can leave. At least I will have eaten. Once I'm seated, server bring food for the others. How did you know I'd be hungry? I ask Moores once he's seated next to me. Everything on the platter is fresh. The raw meats, cut vegetables, and fruits are arranged into something that has a sense of order to it. I'm reminded of the paintings Jason insisted created emotional reaction. Malaya told me that your metabolism runs closer to that of late teen than a full adult. You also can't store as much food as they can. It was an educated guess after that. An educated guess after that. As I eat, the name of the people I'm sitting with are given to me, but I don't recall them. My hunger has all my attention. A quarter of the larger platter is gone before I am sated enough to pause. They're looking at me. Only a few have eaten. Is this going to be an interrogation? I ask. No, a man said. We're just... Don't cuddle him. An older woman snaps. He shows up, and barely a week later, the army is at our doorsteps. Months ahead of schedule. I think we're entitled to answers. I'll answer your question. I reply before Moore's protest. Are you willing to answer mine in return? The exchange looks, then the older woman nods. I motion for her to start, which takes her by surprise. Are you on the run? She asks. I have been running, but I know that isn't what she means. I have to think back to Robert and talks of criminals escaping the law. He called the time before they were recaptured being on the run. I haven't broken any human laws, but as you've worked out, I am a creation of the military. I escaped them, but I suppose that, yes, I am on the run. I told you they were here for him, a man says angrily. When they arrived, I say, setting up my questions. The man who ran to hand Moore's a radio said they're back. That implies they were here before. You just said ahead of schedule, which means they come here regularly. Why would the army come here without me to draw them? They look at one another again. There is a reluctance to answer. Officially, Moore says, it's to make sure we don't need anything. Rolls of the eyes and snort are the response. They're wondering why we aren't dead, the woman says. The sickness, I say, and they nod. I go back to eating while I wait for them to ask the next question. They seem unsure how to proceed. Do they usually deal with uncooperative people in these kind of situations? Or maybe they've simply never had to interrogate anyone before? How badly does the army want you back? A man asks. Unlike the others, who wear clothing made for working outside, he wears a suit, brown, with a white shirt and black tie. A cane hangs off the back of his chair. I think over it, consider what I am comfortable telling them. I don't know. When I first broke away from them, they didn't pursue me. I didn't know of the military connection to my creation then. They forced me to work with them a year later, and we had a disagreement on how to proceed as part of that mission. When that was over and I refused to go back with them, they chased me hard for a few months, then it slowed. I came to Anunga in part because I hoped the sickness would make them reluctant to follow me, and it looked like that worked until now. You aren't afraid of it? The woman asks suspiciously. My creator ran every test she could think of, many of them to test my resistance to human sickness. As far as she could tell, I am immune to anything that affects humans. I counted on that to include this sickness. I eat a little more. How many demons are here? It varies. More answers, ignoring the glares. And they call themselves the people. Demons are something of our mythology. And the only reason they aren't insulted by it is that they don't understand the concept. Protect is the only one who stays, an overweight man says. This is his territory, and he considers the town to be the center of it. He leaves to hunt and patrols the borders, but he always returns. He can fly back quickly if needed. Mated pairs who are related to him, the woman to his left continues, are like kills and watches, come back when they are ready to have a child, and they'll stay until the child picks their name. Once they've done that, they're considered adults, and the bond between them loosens enough they go their separate ways. At this time, there are 19 of them in the territory. Morse finished. That includes baby, cubs, the teens, and a few others who haven't picked a name yet. And none of them haunts you? I ask, not bothering to mask my disbelief. There's the occasional miscalculation when they're young. A woman who looks to be the youngest of the group says, with someone like Cub, the hunger can come on suddenly, and they don't always have the control yet to resist it. But one of the parents will always be close by. If not, Protect will take them to the pens before too much damage can be done. The worst I can remember happening is a few scratches. The people aren't bad. Why has the army redoubled their effort to find you? The old woman demands. I don't know, answers. It's possible they weren't looking for me specifically. I'm told my scent is more like a demon, the people, than humans. Maybe a sniffer dog caught it and it led them here. I've never seen the military use animals, but I've mainly encountered them close to cities. Are they something specific to Anunga? No, a plot woman says. They've been bred for centuries. They're one of the first ways we discovered to warn us of approaching danger of the of a warn us of approaching danger of the of the approaching danger of hungry. She searches for word. Well, we still thought of them as demons back then. I know the military has come up with more high-tech methods, but sniffer dogs are still the most reliable one. Then, if they were indeed looking for me specifically, I don't know why. They have my creators, so they can make more like me. The military is possessive, the man says. Like the other, he's dressed in casual, sturdy clothing, but his body language is harder, straighter, more ready to fight. They might be looking for you just because you belong to them. That was a point of contention between me and the leader of the team I worked with. The situation prevented him from stopping me when I left, but he has been part of the group hunting me. I pause. Why are you not sick? I ask, then go back to eating. They are uncomfortable, looking around. Even Moores seems to search for how to answer, how to say something without revealing too much. We don't know, the old woman finally says, deflating slightly. Malaya's best guess is our isolation, but it doesn't answer all the questions, like why, when someone came back from the city sick, they got better quickly, while the news says it takes months for someone to get over it with heavy treatment. It's one of the things we've kept from the military, Morse says. If they knew that, they'd turn the town into a research center and Protect would kill them. which would only escalate the problem. I eat in silence, my answers, my question answered, waiting for more from them. It takes a minute before any of them speak, and when Morse does so, it isn't a question. Derick, I know you want to leave, but if there's a chance the military is after you, I think it's best if you stay a while longer. Terence confirmed they all went back to their vehicles, but from his vantage point, he can't be sure that every soldier left. If the sniffers have picked your scent, someone could have stayed behind. Outside the town, they will be able to pick up your scent. Some at the table nod, others frown. I am a point of contention among them. I'll stay, I say, and Moore relaxes. It isn't the military's presence that influences my decision. I look at my black hand. Remember Cub rubbing against it. They and the teens piled onto me. The memories of families and belonging that came with them. This town and how they greeted the demons, and that they, in turn, were concerned for the humans' well-being. I haven't felt belonging like this since the time of the lies. I lost that when Amanda and Jason betrayed me. I should leave. Being among them will only bring trouble to them, to me. Without being locked in a cave with demons, I realized I'm tired of being alone. And that concludes chapter 9 of An Errant Dawn. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter is going to be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this book as well as the other two in the trilogy, they are available on Kindle Unlimited. If you want a different way to support me, that is on my Patreon, where you can also get access to basically everything else I've written. And if you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes, and with that, I shall wish you a good day